Many believe self-discipline is a rare trait reserved for the naturally motivated, the highly organized, or those with unshakable willpower. They think achieving goals depends on talent, luck, or perfect circumstances. But that's not the case. Self-discipline is a skill, and anyone can build it starting now. I, Napoleon Hill, have learned that building self-discipline doesn't begin when conditions are perfect, but when you decide to act, even if your mind resists. When you choose to stay committed without excuses, without comfort, without shortcuts, because true achievement doesn't rely on fleeting motivation, it relies on consistent, deliberate action. Define clear, compelling goals. Have you ever tried to walk through a thick forest without a path? You might take a few steps forward, turn left, then right, and before long you are going in circles. That is exactly what life can feel like when you do not have a clear goal. You are moving, you are busy, but you are not getting any closer to something that truly matters. A goal is like a guiding star in the night sky. It gives you direction when everything else feels uncertain. Without it, you can easily be pulled into things that don't matter, or follow other people's plans instead of your own. With it, your choices become simpler. You can ask yourself, does this move me toward my goal? If it does, you take that step. If it doesn't, you let it go. This is how goals make discipline easier. They turn every decision into a matter of alignment, not willpower. A clear goal is more than a vague dream. It is specific and strong enough to inspire action, even on days when motivation feels far away. It should be something you can describe in detail, something that stirs excitement inside you. If it is too general, you will not know when you have reached it. If it is precise, you will be able to measure your progress and celebrate each milestone along the way. To set one, first, think deeply about what matters most to you. Picture the kind of life you want to live in the years ahead. Then choose one area to focus on and shape it into a clear target. If your aim is to improve your health, decide exactly how you will know when you have succeeded. If you wish to save money, choose a specific amount and a time frame. The clearer the goal, the sharper your focus will be. Once your goal is set, divide it into smaller steps. Big goals can feel heavy, but small steps feel possible and keep your momentum alive. If your goal is to read more books, start with a small number of pages each day. If your goal is to learn a craft, begin by practicing for a short, steady amount of time each day. Each completed step builds confidence and makes the next one easier. Keep your goal where you can see it daily, write it down, place it somewhere visible, and read it often. This reminder will steady you when life gets busy or when your determination fades. It will bring your focus back to what matters. Now, picture this. You wake up each day with a clear vision of where you are headed. You are no longer wandering aimlessly. Each choice you make has a purpose. Each action, no matter how small, is part of a greater plan. Like a farmer tending to seeds with patience and care, you know that your efforts will grow into something valuable. Your goal becomes the compass, and self-discipline becomes the steady steps that carry you toward it. This is how clear, compelling goals turn an uncertain path into a purposeful journey. Build consistent daily habits. Think about a river carving its way through rock. It does not do it in a single day, and it does not need to use sudden bursts of power. It shapes the stone slowly, drop by drop, by showing up in the same place day after day. That is the power of consistency. A single act may not seem important, but repeated over time, it can change everything. Habits are the quiet builders of discipline. They are the small actions you do regularly without needing to force yourself every time. When you create habits that match your goals, discipline stops feeling like a battle of willpower and starts becoming part of who you are. The more often you repeat an action, the easier it becomes until it feels natural, just like breathing or walking. The challenge for many people is that they wait for motivation before acting. But motivation comes and goes like the weather. Habits are like the steady sun, they keep showing up regardless of mood or energy. This is why building the right daily habits is one of the strongest ways to grow self-discipline. Once a habit is in place, you no longer need to argue with yourself about whether to do it. You simply do it. To build a habit, start with something small and clear. If you want to improve your health, begin with a short walk each day. If you want to grow your knowledge, commit to reading a set number of pages every evening. Choose something so small that it feels almost too easy to fail. Then, repeat it every day at the same time or in the same setting, so your mind begins to connect the action with that moment. The secret is not to do everything at once. People often make the mistake of trying to change too much in one day. They set 10 new habits, and after a week they are overwhelmed and stop altogether. Instead, begin with 1 or 2 habits and make them part of your life until they are solid. Once they are automatic, you can add another. Patience is essential. A habit is like planting a seed. At first, nothing seems to be happening, but under the soil, roots are growing. If you stop too soon, you never see the results. But if you keep watering it daily, the first green shoots will appear, and over time, it will grow strong. Discipline works the same way. It grows quietly in the background through the steady repetition of small actions. It is also important to protect your habits. Life will always bring unexpected events that try to pull you away from them. If you miss a day, do not see it as failure. Simply return to your habit the next day. The key is to never miss twice in a row. This keeps your progress alive and prevents small breaks from turning into long gaps. Now, imagine you set a small daily habit, like writing a single paragraph each morning. At first, it feels like you are making little progress, but weeks pass and the pages start stacking up. Months later, you look back and see a full collection of work you never thought you could create. All of it came from the quiet power of showing up daily. Just like the river shaping the rock, your consistent habits have shaped your life in ways that once seemed impossible. Master the art of saying no. There is a saying that you cannot pour water into a full cup. If your time and energy are already filled with things that do not truly matter to you, there is no space left for the things that do. Many people struggle with discipline not because they lack effort, but because they spend that effort in the wrong places. They say yes to too many requests, too many activities, and too many distractions, leaving little strength for their real goals. Learning to say no is not about being unfriendly or selfish. It is about protecting the space you need to grow. Every time you agree to something, you are choosing to spend a piece of your life on it. If that choice takes you away from your true path, you are quietly delaying your own progress. A single yes might not seem like much, but over weeks and months, those choices pile up and pull you off course. The art of saying no starts with clarity. You must know what you value most, what your goals are, and where you want your time to go. Without that, you cannot judge whether something is worth agreeing to. Once you know your priorities, the decision becomes simpler. If the request supports your goal, you consider it. If it does not, you politely decline. Many people avoid saying no because they fear disappointing others. They believe that refusing makes them seem unkind or unhelpful. But the truth is, every time you say yes to something you do not truly believe in, you are saying no to something else, often something more important. Over time, this leads to frustration and exhaustion. Real kindness includes being honest about your limits. One way to make it easier is to pause before answering any request. You do not have to decide on the spot. Take a moment or even a day to ask yourself, will this help me move toward my goals? Does it match my values? Do I truly have the energy and time to do it well? This short pause can save you from commitments you later regret. Saying no can also mean setting boundaries with yourself. Sometimes it is not other people who distract you, but your own habits. You might need to say no to spending too much time on something that brings no real benefit, or no to a comfortable routine that keeps you from growing. This self-discipline is often the hardest to build, but it is also the most rewarding. At first, saying no may feel uncomfortable. You might feel guilty or worry about how others see you, but the more you practice, the more you will see the value it brings. You will notice that you have more time for what truly matters, more energy for your most important work, and a greater sense of control over your life. Now, imagine you are working toward a personal dream, something that will take patience, focus, and steady effort. Along the way, friends invite you to join activities that would pull you away for hours at a time. If you say yes to every invitation, your dream slows to a crawl. But if you choose your yes and no with care, you keep your energy aimed at your goal. Months later, you see real progress, not because you worked harder than everyone else, but because you protected your time like it was treasure. That is the power of mastering the art of saying no. Embrace discomfort and challenges. Most people hope for a life that is smooth and easy, but the truth is, ease does not make you stronger. Growth often hides in places that feel uncomfortable at first. When you avoid anything that feels hard, you also avoid the lessons and skills that can change your life. Comfort may feel safe, but it quietly keeps you in the same place. Discipline grows when you face the things you would rather avoid. The moments that make you want to step back are often the very moments that can push you forward. Discomfort is not there to punish you, it is there to prepare you. Each time you face a challenge, instead of running from it, you teach yourself that you can endure more than you thought. It is easy to tell yourself, I will start when it feels easier. But waiting for the perfect moment means you may never start at all. There will always be a reason to delay. The sooner you act, even when it feels uneasy, the sooner you build the habit of moving forward despite fear or doubt. Challenges also sharpen your abilities. Think about a path that climbs a hill. Walking it takes more effort than strolling on flat ground, but the climb strengthens your legs and lungs. Life's challenges work the same way. They stretch your limits so you can do more than before. Without them, you remain at the same level, never knowing what you are truly capable of. One way to grow in this area is to choose small challenges on purpose. If you always avoid speaking up in a group, try saying just one sentence the next time. If you shy away from learning something new because it seems difficult, take the first small lesson. These acts may seem minor, but they begin to change how you see yourself. You start to believe, I can handle this. It is also important to remember that discomfort is temporary. The first time you try something new, it may feel awkward or tiring. But with each attempt, the feeling fades, and what once felt impossible begins to feel normal. This is how growth works. The challenge that seems heavy today becomes light tomorrow because you have grown stronger. Facing discomfort does not mean chasing every hardship or making life harder than it needs to be. It means choosing the kinds of challenges that move you toward your goals. The discomfort should have a purpose, leading to skills, strength, or confidence that will serve you in the future. In time, you may even learn to welcome discomfort, because you will see what it gives you in return. You will stop fearing it and start using it as a tool. This change in mindset is powerful. When you no longer run from challenges, you open doors to opportunities that others miss. Now, imagine you have always avoided speaking in front of others because it makes your heart race and your hands shake. One day, you decide to face it. You practice, you speak, and though it is not perfect, you survive it. The next time, you feel a little less nervous. After several tries, you find yourself speaking with confidence. What once seemed like a wall you could never climb has become a hill you can walk over. And all of it happened because you chose to embrace discomfort and face the challenge head on. Focus on one task at a time. Have you ever tried to catch two fish with one hand? You reach for one, then the other, and end up with none. This is what happens when you try to do too many things at once. Your energy and attention get split, and instead of making steady progress, you find yourself moving a little in every direction but not truly arriving anywhere. Discipline becomes much stronger when you give your full attention to a single task. Concentration is like a magnifying glass. When you focus sunlight on one spot, it has the power to burn through paper. But when the light is scattered, it warms nothing. Your attention works the same way. The more you concentrate on one thing, the more powerful your efforts become. The habit of doing many things at once often comes from thinking it will save time. In truth, it usually wastes time. Your mind needs to keep switching between tasks, and each switch takes away focus. By the end of the day, you may feel busy but have little to show for your effort. Working on one thing at a time allows you to complete it fully before moving on to the next, giving you a clear sense of progress. To build this kind of focus, you must first decide what is most important. Not all tasks deserve your highest energy. Begin with the one that will bring you closer to your goal. Once you start, commit to staying with it until it is finished, or until you have reached a clear stopping point. If other thoughts or ideas try to pull your attention away, remind yourself that they can wait until the main work is done. It also helps to remove things from your surroundings that compete for your attention. A clear space often leads to a clear mind. When you work in a place that is free from distractions, your thoughts flow more smoothly, and you can give your whole self to the task in front of you. Another part of this discipline is learning to be patient with the process. Some tasks feel slow in the beginning, and it can be tempting to start something else just to feel productive. But the real progress comes from staying with what you started, even when it feels challenging or dull. This persistence not only completes the work but also trains your mind to hold its focus for longer periods. Focusing on one task also leads to better quality results. When your attention is scattered, mistakes are more likely. You might overlook details or rush through steps. But when your mind is fully present, you notice more, you think more clearly, and your work reflects your best effort. Over time, this way of working creates a steady rhythm in your life. You start and finish things with greater ease, and you carry less mental clutter because you are not trying to hold too many unfinished tasks in your mind at once. Now imagine you decide to write a long letter to someone you care about. If you keep stopping to do other things, it will take hours, and the message will lose its flow. But if you sit down and give it your complete attention, you finish in one sitting. The words come together naturally, and the meaning is clear. By focusing on just this one task, you create something that feels whole, complete, and worthy. A perfect example of how single-minded attention can turn simple effort into lasting results. Track your progress regularly. Trying to reach a goal without checking your progress is like sailing across the sea without ever looking at the compass. You may be moving, but you do not know if you are headed in the right direction. Many people lose discipline not because they lack effort, but because they cannot see whether their actions are working. Without a way to measure progress, it is easy to feel lost. And when you feel lost, it is tempting to give up. Tracking your progress gives you clarity. It allows you to see the results of your hard work, even when they are small. It also helps you notice where you might be drifting away from your plan, so you can adjust before too much time is lost. Each record you keep is like a marker on your path, showing how far you have come and reminding you that your effort is not wasted. This habit is not only about numbers or counts, it is also about awareness. When you take time to reflect on what you have done, you begin to understand your own patterns when you work best, what helps you move faster, and what slows you down. This knowledge makes you more effective because you can use it to plan better and avoid repeating mistakes. Tracking progress also builds motivation. When you can see visible signs of improvement, no matter how small, it strengthens your belief that your goal is possible. Even on slow days, you have proof that you are moving forward. This is often what keeps people going when the journey feels long. To track well, you need something simple and consistent. It could be a notebook, a wall calendar, or a sheet of paper where you mark each day you complete your task. The key is to make it easy to update and review. A complicated system is harder to maintain and may cause you to stop. Simplicity keeps the habit alive. It is also important to track honestly. If you miss a day or fall short of your plan, write it down without shame. This is not about judging yourself, but about understanding your journey. Honest records show you both the good and the bad, which is the only way to make real improvements. Over time, tracking can turn into one of your strongest tools for discipline. It acts like a mirror, reflecting your true effort. It reminds you of your wins, warns you of your weak points, and keeps your focus steady. Without it, you might think you are working harder or less than you truly are, and either belief can lead you off course. Regular tracking also makes the final goal feel closer. Instead of staring at a faraway finish line, you can see each small step you have taken. This breaks the journey into pieces you can handle, which makes the work feel less heavy. Now, imagine you are learning to play a musical instrument. You decide to practice every day, and each time you do, you mark it in a small notebook. After a month, you look back and see 25 marks. Even on the days when your practice felt slow, the notebook shows your dedication. The progress is there in black and white, and it gives you the courage to keep going. By tracking your effort, you see proof that you are growing, and that proof becomes the fuel that carries you to your goal. Learn to delay gratification. There is a story about a farmer who plants seeds in the ground and then walks away expecting a harvest the next morning. Of course, when he sees nothing, he feels disappointed. But those who understand nature know that the reward comes only after time, care, and patience. Life works in the same way. Many people give up on their goals because they expect results too quickly. When the reward does not appear right away, they choose something easier, even if it offers less value. Delaying gratification means choosing the bigger reward in the future over the smaller reward in the present. It is the ability to wait, to work, and to endure without immediately seeing the result. This skill is at the heart of discipline because most worthwhile achievements take time. Without it, you are tempted to take shortcuts, and shortcuts often lead you away from the life you truly want. When you delay gratification, you are not denying yourself joy. You are simply choosing a better kind of joy, one that lasts longer and means more. This choice requires a clear vision of what you are working toward and a strong belief that your effort will pay off. Without that belief, it becomes too easy to trade long-term progress for short-term comfort. This ability to wait is like a muscle. At first, it may feel uncomfortable, especially if you are used to quick results. But the more you practice, the stronger it becomes. You start by making small choices. You might choose to save your money instead of spending it on something you do not truly need. You might choose to spend your free hour learning a new skill instead of doing something that only entertains you in the moment. Each time you do this, you train yourself to value the future more than the present moment's pleasure. Delaying gratification also helps you build trust in yourself. When you can keep your focus on a goal over time, you prove to yourself that you can be relied upon. This self-trust makes it easier to take on bigger challenges because you know you will not give up when the first temptation appears. It is important to understand that waiting does not mean doing nothing. While you wait for the big reward, you keep working steadily toward it. Just like the farmer who waters the soil and clears the weeds, you care for your goal so that when the right time comes, you are ready to receive the results. The struggle is real in the beginning because the smaller, immediate rewards are easy to take and often feel satisfying right away. But over time, you begin to notice how quickly they fade, leaving you with nothing lasting. The greater rewards, the ones you have worked and waited for, carry a deeper sense of achievement that stays with you. Now, imagine you have a dream of traveling to a distant place. You could spend your savings on small treats each month and enjoy them briefly, but the money would soon be gone. Or you could decide to keep that money aside, adding to it slowly, while saying no to smaller pleasures. Months or even a year later, you step off a train or ship into the very place you dreamed about. You feel the sun, smell the air, and see the sights you once imagined. The joy is richer because you earned it. That is the power of delaying gratification. It turns patience and discipline into a reward worth far more than anything you could have taken in the moment. Surround yourself with discipline builders. If you place a small plant in the shade, it will grow weak and thin. But if you put it where it gets enough light and care, it will grow tall and strong. People are not so different. The environment you choose and the people you spend time with can either weaken your discipline or make it flourish. You may think that your habits and choices belong only to you, but they are deeply shaped by those around you. When you are surrounded by people who live with purpose and effort, their way of living naturally influences you. You begin to see discipline not as something rare, but as something normal. Their example shows you what is possible, and their encouragement reminds you to keep going when your own energy feels low. On the other hand, when you spend too much time with those who avoid effort, it becomes easier to lower your own standards without even noticing. This is why it is important to choose your company with care. It does not mean you must remove everyone who is not like you, but it does mean you should spend more time with those who lift you up. These might be friends, family, or even people in your community who inspire you with the way they work toward their goals. Being around disciplined people also creates a sense of shared responsibility. When you see others keeping their promises to themselves, it pushes you to keep your own. You do not want to be the one who breaks the chain. This quiet pressure can help you stay consistent, even on days when you would rather rest. Another benefit is the exchange of ideas. People who practice discipline often have ways of working, thinking, and solving problems that you may never have considered. By being close to them, you can learn from their experience and find better ways to move toward your own goals. It is also worth remembering that relationships work both ways. Just as others can influence you, you can influence them. Your own effort and commitment can inspire those around you to raise their standards. This creates a circle where each person's discipline strengthens the others. Over time, the group becomes a source of steady motivation and support. Finding such people sometimes requires you to step out of your usual surroundings. It might mean joining a gathering, joining a local club, or simply speaking to someone you admire. Often, disciplined people are open to sharing what they know with those who are sincere and willing to learn. Once you find these connections, treat them like a garden. Give them your attention, respect, and honesty. A relationship built on trust and mutual encouragement will keep both sides growing. Now, imagine you want to run a long race. You could train alone, but there will be days when you feel too tired to start. Then you decide to join a small group of people who meet every morning to train together. On days when you are strong, you help them push forward. On days when you feel weak, their presence pulls you along. Weeks pass, and you realize you have gone further and faster than you would have on your own. That is the power of surrounding yourself with discipline builders together. You rise higher than you could alone. Learn from every setback. A river does not stop flowing when it meets a rock. It bends, it shifts, and it finds another way forward. In life, the same is true. No matter how carefully you plan or how hard you work, you will face setbacks. Things will not always go the way you hoped. The path will twist, obstacles will rise, and sometimes your progress will slow or even seem to reverse. These moments can break your discipline if you see them as the end of the road. But if you see them as lessons, they can become some of your most valuable teachers. A setback is not proof that you cannot succeed. It is proof that you are moving, trying, and learning. Every time something goes wrong, it gives you information. It shows you what needs to change, what you might have missed, and where you can grow stronger. If you can look at a setback with curiosity instead of frustration, you will find ways to turn it into an advantage. The key is to avoid letting your emotions take control in these moments. Disappointment is natural, but staying stuck in it will blind you to the lessons in front of you. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" This simple change in thinking keeps your mind open and your discipline intact. Setbacks also train resilience, the ability to keep going when things are hard. If everything in life came easily, you would never develop the strength to handle real challenges. It is the times you fall and rise again that teach you persistence. With each recovery, you prove to yourself that you can endure more than you thought. This self-trust makes you bolder in the future because you know that even if you stumble, you can find your way back. It is important to be honest with yourself after a setback. Look closely at what happened and why. Was it a lack of preparation? Was it an unexpected event you could not control? Was it a choice you made too quickly? This honest reflection is not about blaming yourself. It is about learning so you do not repeat the same mistake. Sometimes the lesson from a setback is that you need a different approach. What worked before may not work now, and that is normal. The most disciplined people are not the ones who never fail. They are the ones who adapt. They treat each challenge as a chance to improve their plan, their skills, or their mindset. Over time, this way of thinking turns setbacks into stepping stones. Each one adds to your knowledge and shapes you into someone who is better prepared for the road ahead. Instead of fearing mistakes, you begin to see them as part of the process. Now, imagine you have been working toward a personal goal for months. Then, suddenly, something happens that sets you back. Perhaps a project falls apart, or a chance you were counting on disappears. At first, you feel the weight of disappointment. But instead of quitting, you sit down and ask yourself what went wrong and what can be done differently. You adjust your plan, take a new path, and begin again. Months later, you realize that the new path brought you even closer to your goal than the original one. The setback you once feared became the turning point that made you stronger. That is the true power of learning from every setback. Keep your vision in front of you. A traveler walking through a desert can endure the heat, the thirst, and the long distance if they can see the mountain they are heading toward in the distance. But if that mountain disappears from sight, each step begins to feel heavier. The same is true in life. When you lose sight of the vision you are working toward, discipline starts to weaken, and every task feels like a burden. Your vision is the picture of the life you want, the goal you are striving for, and the reason you choose to keep going even when it is hard. Discipline is not just about forcing yourself to do difficult things. It is about having a strong enough reason to do them. Your vision provides that reason. It answers the question, why am I doing this? Without it, you may work hard for a while, but sooner or later, you will start to wonder if the effort is worth it. With it, you can push through the times when progress feels slow because you know exactly where your steps are leading. Keeping your vision in front of you means making it a daily part of your life. It should not be something you think about only once in a while. It should be a constant reminder that shapes your choices and strengthens your will. The clearer and more detailed your vision is, the easier it will be to hold on to when challenges appear. A vague dream fades quickly, but a sharp, vivid picture stays alive. One way to keep your vision strong is to write it down in detail. Describe what you are aiming for as if it were already real. Include how it will look, how it will feel, and how it will change your life. Read it often, especially at the start of your day, so that your mind begins the morning focused on what truly matters. This habit will help you make decisions that match your vision instead of drifting into actions that lead nowhere. Another way is to place reminders of your vision where you will see them often. These reminders act as a quiet voice, guiding you back to your path when you begin to wander. They can be simple, a few words, a picture, or an object that holds meaning for you. What matters is that they pull your thoughts back to the goal you are aiming for. Your vision should also be connected to something deeper than just personal comfort. If it is only about making life easier, it will not inspire you for long. The strongest visions are tied to growth, contribution, or a purpose bigger than yourself. When your vision serves others as well as yourself, it carries more meaning, and meaning fuels discipline better than any rule or routine. It is natural for visions to change over time. As you grow, your understanding of what matters may shift. This is not a failure. It is a sign that you are learning more about yourself